Hi, thanks for joining me. I got a pretty exciting video for you today. One of the most difficult things that folks learn how to do when first getting started is learning how to center the wheel, and it can be a really daunting task. So what I want to share with you today is my 5 tips or rules, so to speak, about what can help you get started throwing on the wheel and kind of overcome that hurdle and get you centering and throwing right away. So with that being said, let's go right out to the shop.
So now that I've cut the clay, you really just want to start working the edges. The goal here is to really just create a nice perfect sphere. The rounder the better. The more work we do here, the better our time is going to be once we actually take it to the wheel head, put it on, and start spinning it. And just keep working it until you're satisfied. Here you just see me keep turning it, pushing it, turning, pushing it, and just compressing it with my hands until I feel like I have a good working shape. Once completed, it should look something like this. And if after working your clay for a little while and it still looks like this, you could still throw this on the wheel and center it. It just wouldn't be that easy, and since we're going through the effort, you might as well just make a nice sphere. And a little bonus technique, you can take this and then start to rotate it against the wedging board, and it will create a nice sort of pointed bottom that it makes it really nice to just go ahead and throw that right on the bat or wheel head and get throwing and centering. The next tip is all about posture and stability. Make sure that your arms are braced against your body and avoid having your arms up in the air away from your body. I've seen this so many times with a chicken wing or, there's just no stability in this. And you can see just from how that looks that you're not going to be able to provide the muscle and the resistance needed to be able to push the clay where it needs to go. So make sure that you're rooted and stable and just avoid kind of keeping these elbows up. They need to be low and down and they need to be against your body. I've heard other potters say this, and it's true. It's that you want to be moving the clay. You don't want the clay to be moving you. So, by having your body stable, you'll make sure that you're pushing the clay where it needs to be going. The next tip I want to share with you is learning how to compress and center with both hands. So, here I'm getting started. I'm just wetting the wheel, wetting the clay, and then starting to place both hands on the clay. And you can see I'm kind of looking at my hands and sharing what parts I'm sort of connecting with the clay on. You can see that the areas where I have clay on my fingers and the pads are really what are doing the work. Now, everybody does this a little bit different. It's going to be based on your hand size and your hand strength and what feels right. But the important thing to remember here is that you want both hands working together. You can even see my thumb from my right hand sort of hook onto my left hand. And all I'm doing is trying to get them to work together so that way I'm providing an equal amount of force. So that was my first time coning up, and then the idea is that I'm coning back down, and so it's sort of this movement of up and down, and using those pads to sort of uh, kind of push up and then flatten, and you have to alternate between the sort of the bottoms of your hand and the top of your hand, and so it's just this action of getting used to the idea of pulling the clay up and coning it, and it's not so much pulling as it is compressing between two hands. And I'm just kind of working it slowly but surely. Sometimes there's more pressure lower and then more pressure higher. And then I'm just working on compressing that clay back down. And here I'm just switching it up so you can get a little bit different view. It's just this idea of providing downward pressure with my left hand and then a guiding hand with my right. And here I'm just going to use my pad of my left hand and I'm just going to compress down. Now you can see how this changes things where it ends up creating a little bit more of a mushroom top. And that's okay. The idea is that I can just go back and just fix it however I need to. And now it's pretty well centered, and this would be ready to get opened up and turned into whatever it is that I'm trying to create. And my last tip is that practice makes perfect. I tell folks that I have the opportunity to teach, it's 10% instruction and it's 90% practice. You just go out there and you just work on whatever it is that you're trying to throw, and you just make the effort and you just practice. It's probably the most important thing you can do, and you don't have to tie yourself to one piece. You don't have to force it. If it's not centering, it's just not working for you. then just scrap it and start over. And if you find that it just doesn't work, or you just need to start over, it's totally okay to do that. You don't have to lock yourself into anything. And so I recommend don't feel obligated to make something happen that just isn't going to happen. Start fresh, start with a new ball of clay, and just keep going. And eventually, it's just going to click, and it's going to be like riding a bike. Once you get it, it's not something you ever look back on, because it's just a skill that gets developed. And then once you have it, you have it. So just keep practicing, guys. If you're struggling, uh, just go back, start over, practice some more. So, and eventually you'll get it, I promise. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and look forward to talking to you guys soon.